Hello students, welcome to yet another session of zoology. We are very happy and glad to once again meet you through this online classes. And today in this video we are going to start Unit 1, second chapter, Human Reproduction. So far in 11th standard we have successfully completed all the physiological topic like excretion, digestion, nervous coordination, endocrinology, respiration, and this year in your 12th standard we will study the important physiology of human, that is reproduction. You can see this wonderful picture, so cute isn't it? Yes, it's a fetus, you can see that. Here a beautiful words are given here by James A.G. In every child who is born, the potentiality of the human race is born again. So nice, isn't it? Let us move into the chapter outline, that what we are going to study in this chapter. These are the topics listed here. First, human reproduction system. Here you will be studying about that is male reproductive system and female reproductive system, its parts and structure we will study, and then we will study gametogenesis, how the sperm and ova is formed and what are the divisions that takes place in the formation of a gamete. We also study the menstrual cycle as a part of a female reproductive system. We will also study the menstrual disorders and menstrual hygiene. What kind of problems that may occur during menstruation or after menstruation or after menopause, and what are the tips and what are the practices that one has to follow to maintain a menstrual hygiene. And we also will study how the gamete undergoes a fertilization and how the development of the fetus. We will see the implantation, fertilization and the development also we will see. How the maintenance of the pregnancy and embryonic development is observed in human we will see. And finally we will see parturition and lactation. Parturition is childbirth, lactation giving mammary gland milk. Is it clear? So these are the chapter outline. Now at the end of this lesson, after studying all the topics that is given in the content of the textbook, what you will get it, what are we going to achieve it. So at the end of the lesson you will have an awareness towards a healthy reproductive life in adolescence. So you know what are the changes that is taking place in adolescence, and if you are aware of all these changes, then it would possibly lead a healthy life. Is it clear? And that is why we study this lesson. Okay. Next, understand the structure of male and reproductive system. If you understand the structure only, that will help us to understand the functions and the entire physiological aspect. So basically we must know the structure. So after studying this lesson, I hope that everybody will be clear with the structure and later with the functions. It also explains the functions and structures associated with the male and female reproductive system. We will, apart from the structure, we will study the physiological functions, some hormonal changes and changes in the organs. All these topics will be covered and you will be getting a clear idea of the functions associated with the male and female reproductive system. You will have a comparison between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Spermatogenesis, genesis refers to formation, genesis means formation. Sperm formation, oogenesis means ovum formation. This is very simple and these are the two processes. After studying this lesson, you will have a clear idea and you can able to compare these two processes. Is it clear for you? And you can able to discuss the changes in the female body and after fertilization. So you will learn what are the changes taking place during and after fertilization. Apprise the role of hormones in the process of reproduction. Yes. You will also study what are the role of hormones. Okay, hormone plays a vital role in reproduction. If hormone is not secreted, and then the process of production of gamete and other secondary sexual characters may not occur. So hormone plays a vital role in reproduction of human. And finally, you will understand the events in pregnancy and fetal development. Here, you will study a beautiful graphical representation and the video representation, which will give you the insight of all the events and changes that is taking from in the pregnancy time. You will see how the fetus is developed from a zygote to a child. You will explore all these things from this lesson. I hope this lesson will be a great knowledge for you to understand and create awareness among the healthy reproductive life. So these are the objectives that we are planning after finishing the lesson. I hope that all the objectives will be successfully completed. Now moving on to the chapter. Introduction part. Every organ system in the human body works continuously to maintain homeostasis. Homeo, steady, stasis means ability. Steady state, we can tell it is a steady state. Okay. Highlight homeostasis for the survival of the individual. So if the steady state has to be maintained, and then these organs should work in properly. And human reproduction system is essential for the survival of the species. Yes. An individual may live a long, healthy life without producing an offspring, but reproduction is inevitable for the existence of species. God has made us, and He had given an opportunity to reproduce the offsprings. So it is inevitable. Inevitable means voluntarily. You cannot skip. Okay? Yes. Reproduction system has 4 main functions, namely, this can be asked in 2-mark question. What is the main function? Okay. So what is the reproductive system give to us, and what are the functions? First point, to produce the gametes, namely sperms and ova, to transport and sustain these gametes, and to nurture the developing offsprings, to produce hormones. And these are the 4 important points. And it is a function of reproductive system. It can be asked in 2-mark or it can be asked in 3-mark as well. Okay, we know, I think these points are very simple. You can able to understand. The major reproductive events in human being are as follows. So what are the events? Okay, stages. So one after another, it continues. The process is continued by many events. Sequentially, we will see what are the events that takes place in human reproduction. Okay, let us see now the highlighted points, bold words they have given, and they have given the definition for that also. We will study first one, gametogenesis. Gametogenesis, you know already, formation of gametes by spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Yes. Insemination, you would have studied in flower the pollination, isn't it? What is pollination? Pollination is a transfer of pollen on the stigma, isn't it? So that is called a pollination. And similarly here, insemination is just similar like that. The male gamete is transported or transferred to the female gamete, exposed to the female genital tract. Okay, transfer of sperm by the male into female genital tract is called as an insemination. And what will happen after insemination? Fertilization takes place. It means male gamete and female gamete combine or fuse together to form a zygote, and this process is called fertilization. This is very clear for you. And what will happen after fertilization? After fertilization, zygote is formed, and what will happen? and continuous division will take place in the zygote, and the single cell is now cleaved into many, and that process is called as a cleavage. So what happened? The zygote is turned into multicellular structure called blastocyst. It will further continue to develop into a fetus. Okay. Next is implantation. After the blastocyst of the uterine wall. So the blastocyst in this form only, the cell, aggregated cell, will travel and then get attached to the uterine wall. And that process is called as a implantation. From where the nourishment is drawn by the formation of placenta. So next is placentation. Formation of placenta, which is the intimate connection between the fetus and uterine wall of the mother for exchange of nutrients. Yes. Next is gastrulation. After the zygote, the developed aggregated cells gets implanted into the uterus. It further undergo many changes. Okay, many germ layers are formed, and that process is called as a gastrulation. Process by which blastocyst is changed into gastrula with 3' primary germ layer. I think if we further study, all this process will be easy for you to understand. Next, organogenesis. Organo. Formation of organs from germ layers. And this is what we call it as organs. And finally, organ system. Okay. All the formation of specific tissues, organs and organ systems form 3 germ layer, and that process is called organogenesis. So now the entire child with all the organ system, all the organs are formed. And finally, this is the last event of the human reproduction, is called as a child birth, okay, or child delivery. We call it as we have given a term. The term is called as a parturition. Expulsion of the fetus from the mother's womb. So these are the sequential events that takes place from the beginning of the formation of gamete till the childbirth. Okay? Yes. And now you have a basic idea of what are the events that takes place in human reproduction. And now one by one, let us be very clear about all this event. Before going into the gametogenesis, this is the first event, isn't it? So gametogenesis means gamete formation. Gamete formation means we must understand where the gametes are formed. So before understanding gametogenesis, we should know where the gamete is formed. Where the gamete is formed? It is formed in the respective human reproductive system, isn't it? So let us be very clear with human reproductive system. We will study the structure, and we also will simultaneously study the function of human reproductive system. What is given here? Let us see. These functions are carried out by primary and accessory reproductive organs. All these events are carried by, we call it as a primary and accessory. Primary means very, very essential and basic. Accessory means helping. Something will help you. Okay. Suppose I buy a mobile. Okay. What are the accessories that I get from the mobile phone? I also get hands-free. I will get charger. See, all these accessories are helpful for me to have a proper usage of mobile. So similarly, accessories organs or accessory organ systems are very helpful for the reproduction. So the functions is not only carried by the primary organs, we have to include the other accessory organs in the reproductive organ. Okay. The primary reproductive organs, namely the ovary and testes, are responsible for the producing the ova and sperm respectively. So we know that this is the primary organ. The other organs which is essential for the reproduction, all will come under accessory reproductive organs. Is it very, I think it is very simple for you. Hormones secreted by the pituitary gland and gonads help in development of the secondary sexual character, maturation of reproduction system, and regulation of normal functioning of reproductive system. So here, from here to here, we have functions of hormone in reproductive system. Okay, so it has been highlighted. Yes. The last one about accessory organ, they help in transport and to sustain the gametes and to nurture the developing offsprings. So without this accessory glands, a complete formation of fetus and development will not take place. So in this chapter, we will learn the basic primary organs as well as the accessory reproductive organs. Now we will come to the important aspect of the lesson, human reproductive system. So here we are going to concentrate first the male reproductive system, organs and accessory glands, and then finally we will study about the female reproductive system. To have a better understanding, I would like to play a video and I would like to explain the human reproductive system. First, we will see the male reproductive system and followed by the female reproductive system. Reproduction in humans are unisexual and viviparous. The major reproductive organs include the external genitalia like penis in male and vulva in female. Along with the number of internal organ includes the gamete producing gonads like testicles in male and ovaries in female. Let us learn about the organs of male reproductive system. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region. It includes the testis, accessory duct and accessory glands and external genitalia. The testes are covered by a sac-like protuberance of skin and muscles called scrotum. The scrotum lies between penis and anus. The testis needed to be at the temperature of 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius and less than the body temperature to produce sperms. Hence, the scrotum is outside the body and has a temperature lower than the body. The testes are oval in shape with a length of about 4 to 5 centimeter and the width are about 2 to 3 centimeter. The testes are surrounded by a tough connective tissue capsule called tunica albuginea. Each testis has 200 to 300 testis compartments called testicular lobules. Each lobule in turn contains 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubule. The lining of each seminiferous tubule is called the germinal epithelium and contains the male germ cells known as spermatogonia and Sertoli cells. The male germ cells undergo meiotic division to form mature sperm cells. This process is called as spermatogenesis. The Sertoli cells provide nutrition to the germ cells. The region outside the seminiferous tubules contain blood capillaries and nerve fibers and small group of large glandular cells called interstitial cells or Leydig cells. What is Leydig cells? Leydig cells synthesize and secretes testicular hormones called androgen. Yes, androgen. Reti testis, vas efferentia, epididymis and vas deferens are male accessory ducts. Reti testis is a network of ductless formed by the seminiferous tubules. Vas efferentia or ciliated ductless that arises from reti testis. They collect sperm and transfer to the epididymis. The epididymis is the long, narrow, highly coiled tubule present along the posterior surface of the testis. It is divided into 3 parts: anterior caput epididymis, middle corpus epididymis, and posterior cauda epididymis. The epididymis stores the sperm temporarily and nourishes them. The epididymis leads to vas deferens and ascends into the abdomen, ureter, and loops over the urinary bladder. And it extends backwards and receives the duct from the seminal vesicle. And finally opens into urethra as ejaculatory duct. The neck of the urinary bladder, ejaculatory duct, and the prostate gland open into the urethra or urinogenital canal. The urethra extends through the penis to its external opening called urethral meatus or urinogenital aperture. The urethra extends through the penis to its external opening called urethral meatus or urinogenital aperture. The urethra is common passage for urine and semen. The male accessory gland includes a pair of seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and a pair of vulvourethral glands. They secrete seminal fluid that contains fructose and prostaglandin. The prostate gland is present at the base of urinary bladder and around the base of seminal vesicle. It opens into the urethra through many ducts. The prostatic fluid contains calcium, nitrate, and phosphate. The bulbourethral gland or the Cowper's gland are pea-sized structure lying posterior to prostate gland at the base of penis. This secretion helps in lubrication of penis. The external genitalia in male is called penis. The penis is the copulatory organ and covered by a loose sheath of skin. The skin that hangs over the tip of the penis is known as prepuce or foreskin. It is made up of special tissues like corpora cavernosa and corpus spongiosum. The tip of the penis is called as gland penis. The penis, urethra, vas deferens, and corpus gland together help in copulation and into the deposition of sperm within the female reproductive system. And now we will study about the female reproductive system. The female reproductive system includes the ovaries, oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina, and external genitalia. Located in the pelvic region, along with a pair of mammary gland, it supports for the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, childbirth, and child care. Let us study each organ in detail. The female reproductive system includes a pair of ovaries located one each side of lower abdomen. They are the primary sex organ as they produce the ovum of female gametes. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 centimeters in length and they are connected by the pelvic wall and the uterus by the ligaments called mesovarium. Each ovary is covered by the ultra-thin outer layer called germinal layer, or you can tell germinal epithelium. The germinal epithelium encloses the ovarian stroma, which is further divided into outer cortex and medulla. The outer cortex consists of many ovarian follicles in different stages of development. The ovarian follicles is the basic unit of female reproductive system. Once again I will tell, ovarian follicle is a basic unit of female reproductive system and is composed of roughly spherical aggregation of cells found in the ovary. The accessory gland or the duct of female reproductive systems are vagina, oviduct, and the uterus. The pair of oviduct of fallopian tubes is about 10 to 12 centimeter long and extends from periphery of each ovary of the uterus. Each oviduct is differentiated into 3 parts, namely infundibulum, ampulla, and isthmus. The infundibulum is dilated funnel close to ovary and its edges are surrounded by finger-like projection called fimbriae. They help in collect and push the ovum into the oviduct after ovulation. The ampulla is swollen and curved part behind the infundibulum. The fertilization of the ovum takes place in this place only. So in ampulla only fertilization takes place. Is a very important 1-mark question. Okay. The isthmus is narrow and straight cavity and it joins the uterus. The uterus is hollow, pear-shaped muscular organ. You can see the pear-shaped, and it is highly distensible. It is situated in the pelvic cavity between the urinary bladder and the rectum. It is also known as a womb. It is supported by the ligaments attached to the pelvic wall known as mesometrium. The uterus opens into vagina through the narrow cervix. The cavity of the cervix is called cervical canal, which along with the vaginal forms the birth canal. The wall of the uterus composed of 3 layers. The outer thin membrane layer is called as perimetrium. The middle thick layer of smooth muscles is called myometrium, and which helps during the delivery by producing a strong contraction motion. So this is the outer layer, perimetrium, followed by myometrium, and which is followed inside by endometrium. The inner glandular layer is called the endometrium and it undergoes cyclic changes during menstrual cycle. The vagina is the muscular tube starting from the lower end of the uterus up to the outside. The opening of the vagina is in young female is partially covered by a thin membrane called the hymen. The hymen is frequently ruptured in childhood due to strenuous physical exercise. The female external genitalia includes the mons pubis and labia majora, labia minora, and clitoris. Labia majora consists of fleshy folds of tissue that extends from mons pubis and surrounds the vaginal opening. Hidden under the labia majora is the labia minora. Towards its upper end lies the clitoris, a small finger-like structure, and below is the urethral opening. The female reproductive system is supported by the mammary glands. Mammary glands or breast are modified sweat glands that lie over the pectoral muscles. They contain glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. Internally, each breast is divided into 15 to 20 mammary lobules containing cluster of cells called alveoli. The alveoli open into mammary tubules. The tubules of each lobe joins to form a mammary duct. Several duct joins to form a wider ampulla, which is connected to the lactiferous duct, and lactiferous duct open through the nipple, through which the milk is sucked out. So far, we have learned the human reproductive system through video, and now we are going to study what are the content of the textbook that we are going to study in 12th standard. I think some important points that is left out in the video will be discussed here, will be highlighted here. I would like to take a break and now it will be continued in part 2. Thank you.